Welcome back to this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host Melek, and today we're standing. I didn't feel like sitting down, so we're standing. But real quick before we get into it, just want to shout out our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, for sponsoring this video. I'll make sure to talk later about a deal they have going on where you can score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first five. So shout out to them for sponsoring this video. Real quick, I'm gonna be honest. If you see me looking down, that's because my other monitor is down here, so bear with me. But I am trying something different because I do want to kind of switch things up. Because right now, there is not much to talk about regarding the Grizzlies. We suck. There's no other way to put it. But there is hope in the tanking aspect of things. We play the Mavericks today. And if you don't remember, the Mavericks are the team one of the two teams that are behind the Grizzlies or above the Grizzlies when it comes into the lottery. Basically, I think Dallas is like a game and a half above, I want to say above the Grizzlies in the tanking aspect. I'm thinking in reverse, so forgive me. But basically, the Grizzlies have to lose. You have to out-lose the Mavericks. And right now, it's looking like a pretty good possibility because we are looking at another game where 10 people are more than likely going to be out. Literally, I'm looking at the injury report right now, and I kid y'all not. Literally everybody is out. The only thing that's somewhat of a positive from this is the fact that Taj Gibson is now doubtful instead of straight up being out. But Kevin Spencer is questionable with low back soreness, so also potentially he may not play, but he probably will play because the Grizzlies need 8 active players. Yeah, there's no other way to put it, but this is a good opportunity for the Grizz to actually get better in the lottery with their odds because the Pelicans won last night, and if the Mavericks beat you now, that means you're only half a game back from dropping in the standings, which means you have a better chance at a top pick. So there's no telling how this game is going to go, but I can almost assume that Walter Clayton Jr., Cedric Howard, Taj Gibson, and Ty Jerome are all going to be out today because when in the Grizz as well, when you hear doubtful, you're out. Simple as that. So there's no telling how tonight's game is going to go, but it does tip off at 7, and I will be there in the team store as always. So make sure to say what's up. Make the most of your time. We can talk content or whatever. So, make sure to see me if you do. Now, I do want to switch things up because Bleacher Report, like I said, my monitor's down here, so forgive me. But Bleacher Report did put out an article where it kind of talks about each target, for some offseason targets for each team. And among those, just some little notes that I saw regarding Grizzlies players. They had Scottie Pippen Jr. getting traded to the Atlanta Hawks, which actually would be a good fit for the Hawks. And I think Jalen Wells to the what's the name of the team? The Spurs. Right. So for the Grizzlies, on the other hand, there were a few targets. One being Christian Brown from the Denver Nuggets. Scoot Henderson from the Portland Trail Blazers. And I'm going to take a deep breath because I'm really going to try to pronounce his name right now. What is it? Kasparas Yasionic. Some of y'all might know who that is, but apparently he's some player on the Heat, which should tell you how I feel about him. I've never heard of bruh, so I'm going to be real. It's probably not worth going after him. But on the other hand, if the Grizzlies were to target Scoot Henderson, I actually would not be opposed to the move because you're getting a guard who is actively developing, and we're seeing kind of taking a jump. Not necessarily the biggest leap, but he's taking a leap nevertheless. So it would be worth having Scoot Henderson on the team, especially if you were to go into the direction where you did get rid of Scottie Pippen Jr. or if you just so happen to be like, hey, you know what? Maybe Walter Clayton Jr. is better down in the G League. So that leaves you with the rotation of potentially John Moran, Ty Jerome, and Scoot Henderson. And if it's anything like the past years, we're more likely going to see Ty Jerome and Scoot Henderson. More than likely. I'm calling it for what it is. Not saying anything, but just got to call it for what it is. Christian Brown, on the other hand, I actually would not be opposed to it because Christian Brown is a really good player for the Denver Nuggets. He's a guy who knows all about winning, so I give credit where credit is due when it comes to him. The only thing that scares me about Christian Brown, I feel like he may be a bit of a system player. I feel like he's just one of those players that, just so happens to look good because of the system that he's in. Not saying that he's bad or anything, but I feel like he's one of those players that, obviously he's going to play better around Nikola Jokic than he is, a Cedric Howard or Zach Edey. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that's my only skepticism with Christian Brown. But other than that, I like the defensive mentality that he brings. It's something that I think fits the Grizzlies narrative. But I mean, in a world where you do have Christian Brown, you obviously have to think about who's the next to be moved, because I don't think there's a way that you keep Christian Brown and, Jalen Wells, kind of like that. So those are just some hypothetical targets that I saw Bleacher Report put out that I actually don't mind. And yeah, they actually are a good possibility. So there's no telling. But I do want to know y'all's thoughts, or if there's any other targets that you guys may know that, hey, would fit on the Grizzlies. I love to hear it, because y'all know anything about this channel, we love to debate. We love to talk. And one thing about it, we also love to play games. And one game that I've been playing heavily lately is Underdog Fantasy, our sponsor of the video. Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back. And Underdog is the best place to get on all the action. It's real simple. Underdog is very easy. You just pick one of your favorite players to go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. You get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Yes, 5,000 times, right? This with Underdog is very simple. You just open up the app like this, and they see, you're making selections. And we're going to go ahead. I would say the game, but you know what? We'll go ahead and do it anyway. So there's a possibility Cooper Flag is going to play. I'm going to pick Cooper Flag higher on 12.5 rebounds and assists. And oddly enough, I'm actually going to pick Olivier Maxence Prosper 23.5 points in rebounds higher, because nobody's essentially going to be playing for the Grizzlies. So it's no way it doesn't work. So it's real simple. You download the Underdog app today. You also do it by scanning this QR code right over here that I'm pointing at. It's at the top right. Yeah, top right. I'm sorry. I had to remember what side y'all were on. But yeah, you download the Underdog app today and use promo code BasketballFan. Now that's right here at the bottom. You read it right here, BasketballFan, to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first 5. Once again, that's promo code BasketballFan. Underdog is where you make picks and you win money. So shout out to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-878 or text HOMI 467-369.
All right, now that we back, I do want to kind of tease ahead to something. Well, not really tease, but kind of just give y'all an idea of how I want to kind of change up the channel a little bit. Well, not necessarily change it, but just kind of add to it. I want to kind of try to do little segments where we, just talk about Grizzlies history, just revisit things and stuff like that, because I know it's a little different right now. It's tough times. But let's reflect on the good times. So I'm going to play this video that I recorded earlier, and I want to see what y'all thoughts are and see if this is something that y'all would really enjoy. So let me know how it goes and enjoy the next 3 minutes. Oh, sorry. Technical difficulties. My bad. Thought I pressed the button. My bad. Here we go. All right. How did the Memphis Grizzlies go from championship contenders that came out of nowhere to their second lottery pick in just 3 years, and they've already traded 2 out of their 3 core pieces, and Ja Morant could be out the door? Welcome to my TikTok. My name is Melek Robinson, where I'm bringing you the latest sports news and just revisiting some good history. Today we're talking about my favorite team, the Memphis Grizzlies. And today we're going to talk about that 2021-22 season that everybody remembers them for, because it was just a great time in life. So let's start off with the fact that this team started off the season 9-10. You have a team of Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Dillon Brooks, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Steven Adams, along with a bunch of bench pieces that aren't really familiar names nowadays, but they are to a lot of Grizzlies fans. This team started off 9-10 and finished the year second in the conference at just, I believe, 56 wins. They went from 9-10 to start the year to finishing at second in the Western Conference. This team took everyone by storm as Ja Morant took a leap this year, including a 52-point career-high game against the San Antonio Spurs that a lot of people still talk about to this day. Overall, Desmond Bane turns into a great three-point specialist for the team. Jaren Jackson Jr. proves to be one of the best defensive young players in the league, and Dillon Brooks proves to be a very good enforcer for the league. And you also add Steven Adams, who's one of the best rebounders, if not the best rebounder in the league at that time. This team had everything you could think of. They were blowing out your favorite team, and Ja Morant wasn't even the main scorer sometimes. You had guys like DeAnthony Melton, John Conchar, Kyle Anderson, Killian Tilly, Santi Aldama. These names were killing your favorite team because this team had probably the best bench unit in the entire association. It was just that good. Fast forward to the playoffs. This team is facing the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round of the playoffs. You may remember this is the Timberwolves team with Anthony Edwards and Patrick Beverley. The Patrick Beverley when he stood on the scorers table after the play-in win over the Clippers. It proved to be one of the best playoff series in that entire playoffs. And it came down to a lot of close moments. You may remember the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves split game 1 and 2. And in game 3, Karl-Anthony Towns gave us this infamous quote.
Yeah, we in Minnesota now.
And then the Grizzlies proceeded to win the game after Timberwolves blew multiple 20-point leads. But they bounced back in game 4 to tie the series 2-2. Then game 5, Ja Morant took over the game, scoring the final few points for the team and the game-winning layup to give them the Game 5 win, and then they later closed it out in Minnesota in Game 6. Fast forward, they're playing the Golden State Warriors in round 2. This series is already starting off on a heater. Unfortunately, the Grizzlies lose in Game 1 by 1 point. Ja Morant missed the game with a layup. But Game 2, Ja Morant bounced back with a 47-point performance, his playoff career high at that point. Game 3 is where everything changes as Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole double-team Ja Morant. But in the midst of that, Ja Morant hurts his knee. He's essentially out for the rest of this series. Warriors go up 3-1, and they win the game, and they win the series in 6 games. Season over, just like that. But a lot of upside to this Grizzlies team, as you still have a lot of good players, a lot of good talent around this team. Taylor Jenkins is the head coach up to that point, and there's a lot of promise in this future for the Grizzlies, as a lot of the teams now, like OKC, the Spurs, and even the Hornets, they were bottom barrel teams at that point, and everybody was looking up to the Grizzlies. Now, obviously, the script is flipped, but there's a lot going on leading up to that point, and the 22-23 regular season had a lot to show for it. First comment right here says, I agree, Memphis should keep Ty Jerome. We have to know the tendencies for Zach Kleiman. He loves rookies. If Jerome has to be traded to move up in the draft, it's going to happen. Don't be attached to any player on the roster besides Zach, Edey, and Coward. Yeah, unfortunately, there's definitely potential for another time like that where, a lot of players are probably going to get moved. And I think Ty Jerome, I've been seeing a lot more reports. I know what I said the other day, but I've been seeing a lot more reports suggesting that Ty Jerome could be moved at the draft. So there's no telling about that. And it'd be really unfortunate if he was to get traded on draft night, because Ty Jerome, in the short amount of time that he's played this year, has shown so much promise on this team. And I think for the Grizzlies to potentially not run that back for a full year, it doesn't do Ty Jerome justice, and it doesn't do the Grizzlies fans justice as well. So I definitely think that's something that, should happen. But the idea that anybody could get traded on draft night at this point is definitely a possibility. There's no doubt about that. Next comment says, every time going back to the Golden State loss in the last 76ers game months ago, we seem like the better team, but the other team has more heart, stamina, and motivation. We need a bulldog on the bench the way Caruso plays. Honestly, at this rate, yes. The Grizzlies need a more physical team. That's the thing that really kills the Grizzlies. You need a more physical team, because the thing about it is the Grizzlies are a team that can win 3 out of 4 quarters, but that last quarter is the one that hurts the most. And I think you need some physicality on that side to kind of wear the other team out. And that's something that, we just don't see anymore. And obviously there's a lot of things that go into a good team, and the Grizzlies have the blueprint for it. They just need to execute. And granted, injuries and, some coaching is getting in the way of that. But it's definitely a possibility. I'm not ruling out the possibility of this Grizzlies team coming back next year and actually taking the lead by storm once again. So that's my whole thing on that. Next comment says, next comment are kind of conflicting. One says Gigi had too many turnovers, and one said Gigi played good. I wouldn't be mad about the turnovers. I wouldn't be mad either, but the thing is, turnovers had the capability to change the game in so many assets. We've seen games where the Grizzlies had, have less than 10 turnovers, sometimes 15, and it changed the whole course of the game. But you can't win a game with 20 turnovers. That's just not good for anybody. And for Gigi to have 5 of them, that I think it was 5 of them, that's not a really good look for anybody. That's just the fact of the matter. I mean, Gigi offensively and defensively is a great player, great talent, and I just think right now those turnovers, that just wasn't a good game. Next comment says, Ja Morant deactivated his social medias. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised. That's something that we're kind of used to. I can't lie. That's not news to me, if I'm being real. I know that sounds kind of, harsh, but it is what it is. And then the last comment, you know what? We'll read this one. This one says, please stop getting on here talking about some Grizzlies news. The news is that they suck big time. Yeah, that's true. This one also says, go keep losing. Why are you, well, it says, why is you? I'm going to read it verbatim. Why is you keep talking about this team like they finna win more than 25 games? Dude, I don't know if you knew here. I really don't. There's no way for me to check that. But this is what we do. We do this on a daily basis, good or bad. There have been so many times where I've been stuck on what to tell y'all, but I still find a way because that's the identity that we built here and the community that we built here. And I appreciate everybody for, coming with me along this journey. So I'm going to just let you know right now, the news is going to keep going, win or lose. We could lose every single game from this point forward and guarantee you, and I promise you, I'm going to find a way to talk about it. And if that happens to piss you off, I'm sorry. I really am. And the fact of the matter is, we both kind of agree. This team sucks. The entire Memphis basketball scene isn't good right now. My alma mater just lost to Tulane yesterday, and we're not even making the tournament anymore. So I'm heated, all right? But let's be real, bro. Being negative ain't gonna do nothing. So I really hope you join along for this ride. If my content really upsets you, I apologize, but I'm not apologizing at the same time. I apologize for nothing, actually. So I hope you stay along because I actually like debating with people. I really love having these conversations. So if you really, really do not like the fact that I talk about news here, hopefully this episode changes your mind. We talk about the future, not just current day. So hopefully you stick around. But that's going to wrap up this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in. I know this one was kind of different. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when the next video comes out. Once again, shout out Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. You can, once again, download the app by scanning this QR code right over here to the top right of the screen. And once again, I will see y'all tomorrow on Friday where we can recap all different types of things and look ahead to the draft and potentially not talk about news. Who knows? But I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.